Good day, everyone. Let's talk about the communication breakdown in oral communication in context. But before that, let me introduce myself. I am Rachel Biduldulao from Amethyst ABM Grade 11, and this is my presentation in oral communication in context. What is communication breakdown? A communication breakdown is defined as a failure to exchange information resulting in a lack of communication. Any kind of noise which interrupted your communication can break down communication. For example, passing of aeroplane, connection problem, personal barriers, and misunderstanding between the parties. Communication breakdown occurs if there is wrong perception by the receiver or barriers. There are 4 types of barriers in communication breakdown. First is the physical barriers. Physical barriers are described as structural obstructions in both human-made and natural environments that block effective communication so that the messages cannot be sent from the sender to receiver. Some of physical barriers are noise, technological problems, and organizational environment. Example: 2 people were talking beside the highway road. Then suddenly, a motorcycle stopped to buy at the nearby store, but the engine of his motorcycle was not turned off, which was the reason why the 2 people could not understand each other. The second type of barrier is the cultural barrier. So, what is cultural barrier? Cultural barrier makes communication difficult as the mindset of people of different cultures are different. The language, signs, and symbols are also different. Different cultures have different meaning of words, behaviors, and gestures. Culture also gives rise to prejudices, ethnocentrism, manners, and opinions. For example, values and beliefs. The differences in values and beliefs in cultures also create a barrier in communication. So, the differences in their values and beliefs are an example of cultural barriers. Body language and gestures are another elements of cultural barriers. It is impossible to communicate without body language and gestures. It provides meaning and justification for communication. In conservative societies like Arab and African countries, greetings opposite gender by shaking hands or hugging is considered as ill-mannered or even moral crime. But in the Western world, it is common practice to shake hands while we meet people. A third type of barriers is psychological barrier. Psychological barrier refers to the internal belief of a person that stops him from effectively completing a task. It also refers to the emotions, opinions, and status, consciousness of an individual, and has a direct impact on his ability to communicate with others in a positive frame of mind. For example, when a person is angry, he or she might say things they regret later. Even when listening to someone else speak, an angry person might easily misinterpret the message. Various other emotions like fear, nervousness, confusion, mistrust, and jealousy affect the communication process. Last type of barriers is the linguistic barrier. A language barrier is a figurative phrase used primarily to refer to linguistic barriers to communication. The difficulties in communication experienced by people or groups originally speaking different languages or even dialects in some cases. Language barrier impedes the formation of interpersonal relationship and can cause misunderstandings that lead to conflict, frustration, offense, violence, hurt feelings, and wasting time, effort, money, and lives of the people. Example of language barrier is dialects. People can technically be speaking the same language, but dialectical differences can create misunderstandings and gaps in communication. India, for example, uses over 22 major languages written in 13 different scripts with over 720 dialects. According to the author Catherine Verderver, there are also 3 types of noises that are similar to barriers. The first one is the physical noise, the second one is the physiological noise, and the last one is the semantic noise. In this last part of my presentation, I'm going to share to all of you the strategies I learned on how to avoid communication breakdown. The first one is have clarity of thought before speaking out. Second one is learn to listen. Third, take care of your body language and tone. Fourth, build up your confidence by asking for feedback and observing others. And the last one is communicate face-to-face on the important issues. Remember, becoming a strong and effective communicator takes time and practice. Over time, using these strategies can lead to better communication in your personal relationships and more productive workplace environments as well.